How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. How do you say it?
Dejiana.
Deji. See, I knew I was gonna mess it up. Dejiana. Dejiana. Okay, if I mess it up, feel free to correct me. All right. Um,
Okay,
that's one of my pet peeves. I have to like get people's names correct.
same.
Um, cool, cool. All right. I'm sure some people will be joining us, so we kind of gonna dive right in.
Okay,
Um, This will get posted to like YouTube and it'll be on IGTV. So definitely feel free to share it with people if you want. I'll just start by kind of explaining what Grind to Grad is and who I am, and then we'll get into some interview questions.
okay.
Cool. So my name is Fred Johnson. I live in New Orleans, Louisiana. Born and raised there. I went to school at the University of New Orleans. I currently work as a manager of college completion with a charter network called Collegiate Academies here in New Orleans. And pretty much what my job is to help kids get to and through college. And of course, there's all kinds of challenges that get in the way of that. So I kind of wanted to start Grind to Grad as a way to spread information, build awareness, and hopefully build skills and expertise in how do college students, particularly black college students, how do you make it? How do you get to that end goal of walking across a college stage? And so part of the way I want to do that is by interviewing recent college graduates, getting an idea of the challenges and the successes that you experienced in college, and just sharing that with people and hoping that they can glean something from it, be inspired by it, and just be able to connect with your story. Um, cool.
That's awesome.
So, so Dejiana, did I say it right?
Yes.
Dejiana, cool. All right, so we have Dejiana who graduated from the Grambling State University. She is also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So I just got to give a shout out to my first fam real quick. I'm a member of Alpha Phi
Okay.
Alpha. Um, so it's always good to be talking to first fam and getting to know more sorors. So I guess if you could start with telling us where you're from, what's your major, and I guess why did you choose Grambling State University?
Okay, so my name is Dejiana Mullen. I am a native of Shreveport, Louisiana, and I'm a recent college graduate of Grambling State University with a matriculation in biology and a minor concentration in environmental science. I chose Grambling because it's one of those things when you're born into it basically. I'm actually the first college grad in my family. However, I remember going to Grambling football games with my grandmother and, just having that experience at HBCU, and I ultimately knew that I had to go there. So it was no doubt in my mind that's where I was going, and after doing research I found out it was a place for me.
Gotcha, gotcha. So do you have any graduates of Southern in your family, or is it mostly Grambling or like a mix? Well, I know you said you're the first, but I guess did you have any other influences from other schools? Did you have trouble like deciding on Grambling, or did you consider other schools at any point, or did you know 100% Grambling from the start?
Well, it was 100% Grambling. I
Hmm.
knew about Southern, going to Bayou Classic and things like that. But my grandmother just still to me, she was like, "Look, you're gonna be a Tiger. It is what it is." And so it's just one of the things that just I went along with because, like, hey, who's gonna argue with their grandma at this point? So, but after doing research, when you get to your senior year in high school, you have to dig a little bit deeper. And actually I moved my junior year to Missouri with my mother. And I decided to move back to Louisiana just so I could be considered in state and apply for Grambling State University. So, yeah, I made sure that's my only option.
Gotcha. You made sure there was nothing that was going to get in the way between you and being a Grambling Tiger.
Absolutely
Um,
not.
Now, I'm interested to hear a little bit about, I guess, your mindset or your experience as a first generation college student. I work with a lot of first generation college students, and Sometimes they can be motivated by that identity. Other students feel like an immense amount of pressure to succeed, and sometimes it can be a little bit crippling. So I guess I want you to talk a little bit more about your experience as a first generation student, maybe as you were applying to college and just going throughout college. Were there moments where that motivated you? Were there moments where the pressure of being the first in your family to graduate college felt like too much? Just talk about that a little bit.
Definitely. So with me being the first, I didn't have, parents or anyone in my immediate family that could help me or walk me through that process. So I relied solely on, all my resources at the college, faculty, staff. They were very instrumental. And, Grambling, we always say it's Gram Fam. It's like a family. And that's true from the moment you step foot on that campus. You have someone that's there for you, that's vouching for you. So in the beginning, it was very scary because I'm like, I don't know what I'm walking into. I mean, it's just a huge campus. This is actually a university, and coming straight from high school where, you're dependent on your mom. She's waking you up in the morning still, everything's on your own. So it was very scary in the beginning, but I quickly got adjusted because of the help I received from, my professors, the faculty, the deans of my college, the heads of the department. So that helped. When I began my first year, just getting adjusted to the classes, waking up, not having a car, first starting off, having to walk everywhere. That was a lot. And rain, sleet, snow. If class is not canceled, you need to be there, and you have to find a way to get there. So that was a challenge. That was really new for me. Being away from family, that's the biggest thing. Becoming homesick. So I'm from Louisiana, but my mother was in Missouri at the time, and no one was in the Grambling area. Grambling's about an hour away from the Shreveport Bossier area, so without a car, it's hard to commute back and forth. So you're kind of stuck on campus. So you miss your family, you miss being around. If you have brothers and sisters, things like that. So that was my main thing. Like, I needed the motivation of my family. I wanted someone there because you felt kind of alone. You get a roommate, which is a brand new person you never met before most of the time, unless you know someone that's going to the college you're attending, and you have to get acclimated to them, them to you. How are they? The cleanliness, study habits. Are they the partying type? Are they going to allow you to study in your room? So all those were circumstances I had to deal with. So my first year was pretty good for me. In the beginning, it was the homesick, but after getting acclimated to it, and it's really a family environment, I quickly turned around and, joined the family with ease.
Gotcha. Talk about the homesickness a little bit more, because I know that's something that's a little bit more challenging for my students to deal with. What were some specific things that you did to kind of cope with being homesick?
So I was a student ambassador at Grambling State University, and this is something we talked about all the time. And basically what we tell them is to get out. There's so many things that you can do, especially starting out. You have first year experience, which is it's mandatory, and all freshmen have to take it, and it kind of just gets you into knowing more about the university. You're there with other strangers that are new and not knowing what's going on, so you kind of build that bridge with family. The first week they have a welcome week where, if your family wants to come with you that first week, there's plenty of activities that they can come. They have a freshman pinning ceremony that your family can share with you as you're officially become part of the Gram Fam. And I mean, it's a lot. And after that, you're by yourself. But once you get involved in things, first year experience, there's other clubs, that they have for freshmen that you can join as freshmen, departmental clubs. I was in the biology department. So, we had several different things that you can join, including biology club. And that helps. But sitting in your room, that's the biggest way for you to get homesick and for you to start rethinking if college is for you or if you were ready yet, coming straight. Some people are like, maybe I should give it a semester or two and, stay at home, maybe work, or maybe go to a JUCO, a junior college. But once you put yourself out there, it's going to come. You know, you're going to get so busy, and once you start getting busy, you start finding other things and other people that are interested in the same thing you are, and that help you, and your circle starts getting bigger. And next thing you know, you're not, you know, you're like, oh, mom, I forgot to call you. You know, I was just here, I was just there, you know, and it gets a lot easier. So definitely being active. If you just sit in your room all day and watch TV or look out the window or on social media all the time, you know, you're going to feel that loneliness.
I tell my students all the time, it doesn't matter what university you go to. If you just stay to yourself, don't talk to anybody, don't go to any events, it's going to be boring. It's going to be boring. You have to really take that risk to have small talk, get to know people, and just put yourself out there and take a chance. Um, I want to know a little bit more about, I guess, just the HBCU experience. I went to a PWI, and I know all HBCUs are not created equal. So I guess, can you talk about what was unique about your experience at Grambling, and what were some of the things that kind of stick out to you about going to HBCU?
The football games, the band, you know, we have the world famed Tiger Marching Band, which is known throughout the entire world. Those are things that you come in finding out about, and just that experience of just going to your first home game and the crowd is going crazy, and oh my, it's just amazing. The first halftime show, like things like that, that's what brings the university together. Then you get to see all the alumni, all the different people that come out and support, that travel thousands of miles, hundreds of miles sometimes, to come and support their HBCU. It's just amazing. And you get to travel, you know, in different states going with the football team. And my Grambling, they actually would like have a shuttle and a bus they would host for, you know, which is really good for freshmen because, you know, you don't have a car or you don't know anybody to kind of like carpool with. You can get on this shuttle and they'll, you know, normally it's like first come, first serve, but they'll take you to the different games. You know, you go to Bayou Classic in New Orleans, you'll go to Texas, you go to the State Fair Classic. So, I mean, man, that experience is like no other. I mean, you see so many people, you know, and it's like home. And the alumni love seeing, you know, the freshmen and the newbies. Like, oh, you know, I went here in '66. I graduated in '88, and you know, they're just loving it. So you really get that feel for even after you graduate. You know how it's going to be. You know, they always welcome you back home. So it's amazing. It's almost unexplainable. I mean, the vibe, the energy is different, you know, and I've gone to some games at PWIs and nothing wrong with it, but that energy you get and that vibe you get being at HBCU, it's like no other. It's great. It's a phenomenal experience. Like, I love Grambling, and I'm so grateful that I got to experience and meet the people that I did. I've met so many people, have so many networking, you know, contacts that I'm utilizing at this very moment. You know, I just moved out of state from Louisiana, and, you know, I'm able to flourish better because Grambling prepared me for that.
Gotcha. I want to switch gears a little bit because I have a lot of students who don't know what they want to do. They don't know what they want to major in. They don't really know what they like. They don't know what brings them joy. They can't really see themselves doing anything right now for the rest of their lives. So that's making them a little bit nervous. It makes me a little bit nervous too, although I know you don't have to know what you want to do for the rest of your life as a freshman, but having a little direction and knowing what you find joy in, what you're passionate about, what your purpose is on this earth is important, and also at least knowing what steps to take to get there. So tell me a little bit about how did you, I guess, pick your major? How did you decide on that major? And did you ever change your major? Did you struggle with choosing it? Tell me about that process.
I thought that I was going to go to medical school initially after I graduated high school, and I thought that as a freshman as well. So I chose biology because I knew that's what I wanted to do, pre-med, you know. I planned on studying for the MCAT around my junior, senior year and, you know, taking it a little bit after I graduated. But although I did change a little bit, I changed the course a little bit. I no longer wanted or had a desire to go to medical school, but I still appreciated that biology background. I knew that was something that I was still interested in. And because I was interested in it, I would find a path after I graduated. But if someone doesn't know, like I did, going straight, I see this all the time, especially as an ambassador. Some students like, well, I don't know what I want to major in. Like, I'm not for sure. You know, some don't even know the lengths of majors there are. Like, there's so many, and even in biology, there's certain categories. You know, you can go the environmental science way, you go general biology, you know, pre-med. So you can always be undeclared. And honestly, for the first year, you're just taking those core classes, that English, those maths, you have to get out the way anyway. So it's a good thing. That kind of gives you time to just look and maybe go to different, you know, different departments, and they normally have different events and departmental fairs where you can kind of look and just step in and see what they do if it interests you. You even have the liberty to take classes in other majors just to start off to see, hey, maybe I do have a nick for this or a nick for that. But definitely we always suggest that if you don't know, don't go straight into a major. Don't let, you know, family members or friends persuade you in it, because in the end, if you don't like it, you're going to backtrack. You're going to have to restart over kind of essentially, and that can prolong you from that glorious moment we all want to watch across stage. So being undeclared is the best way to go, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to find your way. You're going to end up finding what you like or linking with some people that might help you. You know, that's the thing. In college, you're going to be surrounded by a lot of people, and you want your circle to be really strong, you know, smart people. They'll kind of help you, you know, guide you in the right direction. So definitely undeclared, because once you start a major and you, after your sophomore year, you start really getting into those classes. So by your sophomore, junior year, if you decide, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, you kind of essentially have to start over when going to the next major. So
Yeah, that happened to me. I changed my major in my junior year, from pre-med to education, and let's just say it pushed me back a lot. It took
yes.
me a little minute to finish, but I figured it out eventually, which was good. But you're right, it is good to start undeclared, take some classes, get involved in some different things to see what it is you like. Was there anything that you experienced in high school that led you to say pre-med bio is the route I want to go, or to make that vision a little more clear for yourself?
I watched a lot of TLC. So I love to sit there when you get out of school and just watch babies being delivered. I mean, I thought that's what I was going to do. You know, a little more research. You don't do that much research in high school. I know I didn't. You just kind of see something like, oh, I'm going to do that. You know, I'm just going to go to college. They're going to teach me everything I need to know. You know, I really don't need to do any research right now, because once I get there, I'm going to learn everything I need to know. So, you know, after further research, I'm like, that's a lot of years. I don't know if I want to do school that long. So, you know, I just started rethinking. And I'm like, you know, I still want to do biology. I still had a love for it, you know, science and learning about the body, anatomy. I loved those things in high school. So that was still my move, but I kind of just changed a little bit. But yeah, definitely watching TV. I would keep it on some science channel, TLC, something like that, you know. So that was for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was kind of the same thing for me. It's like once you start to get up into those upper level, for me, like the upper level bio and chemistry, where you know they're trying to like weed people out early. If you want to go to med school, you have to be really serious about studying and putting in the work. And I was just like, I'm not there with it yet. I'm not there with it. Um, can you talk about what was something you struggled the most with in school, whether it be like time management, study skills, or just getting acclimated to being on your own and independent? What was like the biggest struggle area for you, or the biggest transition area, and then how did you eventually overcome that?
I had a hard time focusing with studying. You know, like you mentioned, chemistry, you know, anatomy, all those classes you have to study. There's no way, unless you're Einstein, you can pass those classes without studying. So just staying focused. Once you started meeting people and getting friends, it turned into, hey, you want to go to the caf? When maybe I can just sit this one out, eat a bowl of noodles in my room, and really study for this test I have tomorrow. But it goes, okay, yeah, I'll go to the caf. From the caf, y'all end up somewhere else, and next thing you know, you're coming in late, and you have an 8 o'clock class in the morning. You don't know anything on this test, and you're cramming. So definitely for me, it was learning how to focus and learning how to say no, because every day there's something going on. Okay, there's going to be something happening almost every single day, if not every day. So there's times which it's great to have fun. I say go out there and really push yourself. But if you're not prepared to say no and to step back and realize you came here for school to learn, to eventually get that expensive piece of paper and walk across that stage and smile and shake, the president's hand. You have to focus, and that was tough for me. And so I kind of got my wake up call like after my second semester. I was like, well, the first semester I did okay. I didn't do the best, because I was going out with my friends and all that. In the second semester, I just was floating by. And then when I got those grades back, I was like, I could have did a lot better. It wasn't horrible, but I'm like, I started realizing the parts where I could have been a little bit more focused. So for me, that was it. I was so interested in meeting people. And once I really started getting out there, because I'm very shy. I am very shy. So once I put my foot out there and I actually started meeting people, and people started meeting me and they liked me, and I was forming friendships, it's like, oh, well, I want to be around y'all all the time. Like, they're like family now. You call each other best friends. You know each other for 3 weeks, but that's my best friend. I'm going with her, So that was it. I wish I would have had a little bit more control and be able to say, no, guys, not tonight or not today. I need to go to the library, or I need to stay in my room and I need to study. So that's really important. I mean, it's a form of peer pressure almost, and you just have to have control over that.
So it sounds like you said like, your wake up call was that after that first semester when you got those grades and you knew like that's not what I'm capable of. That's definitely not what I'm shooting for. Talk about like how you felt in that moment when you looked at those grades, because I've had certain students who have had that moment and the light bulb, like the switch doesn't flick right then and there. It sounds like for you made that transition and that switch really quickly to be able to say no. So I guess talk about how did you feel in that moment? Because I always tell my students when you get to that point of being sick and tired of failing or not doing well, that's when you'll change. And it seems like that happened pretty quickly for you. So yeah, just talk about how you felt when you saw those grades.
I mean, a semester is a pretty long time. So, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that thought, oh, 1 or 2 test grades that are, I can make it up. I can make it up by the end of the semester. You got time. The semester catches up to you. And, I had in my mind what my grades were going to be like. And when they didn't come out like that, I knew. I'm like, okay, somewhere I went wrong. And then, my mother, like I showed her everything, every grade I would get, every test, well, not every test that semester, because some of them was like, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to tell her about that one. But, when they came out, I had to tell my mother, and for me, I didn't want to be a disappointment to her. It was a big deal for me to be in college. She bragged about me. She told everybody, about me and the fact that, I'm here, I'm going to Grambling, her daughter. And I'm just like, that's not something you can brag about. So I kind of got it together real quick because I was so afraid of disappointing my mother. So afraid. So not only that, but I knew I could do better. So I kind of got it together fairly quickly, and realizing that after that first semester, the classes get harder and harder and harder. So I my advisor ended up talking to me and was like, you're doing okay, but you're a biology major, right? These classes are going to get harder. You cannot skate through doing this when you get to anatomy and physiology, and when you get to epidemiology. You can't do that. And so she kind of got me together real quick. I'm like, you know what? You're right. And they always say, start off really strong in those first several courses, because there does come a time in some courses where you may fall a little short, but your GPA will be okay, if you started off strong, versus it's easier to just kind of bounce back if you have a strong foundation versus trying to make up a strong foundation in the long run. So that was really good advice, and I just happened to just really be smart about it and think about it, saying like, oh, okay, some people do that, like, oh, all right, I hear you, and then it's junior year, and you're like, I need GPA booster classes, I need something, you're begging for extra credit to your professor, so, which I've seen that before too, so, some people don't take heed to it, but if you're really smart, and I was, and just you have somebody in your corner that you don't want to disappoint, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get it together really fast.
Gotcha. Now, you said that you were shy. And so if anybody has been on your Instagram account, like you're involved in a ton of different organizations, that typically somebody that's shy probably wouldn't even thinking about joining. I have a lot of students who, obviously in high school, you've been with people for 4 years or longer if you went to middle school with them. So you get comfortable in that you already have friendships. And so when you go to college, there's this skill of forming new relationships and friendships. And so can you speak to, like, what is the first step for somebody that is shy or that's a little bit introverted? What is the first step that they need to take to kind of come out of their shell and really form a new identity apart from what they may think of themselves and their high school version of themselves?
Okay, other than the first being, if you have a really cool roommate, kind of trying to get acclimated to, you already have to have a relationship with them because you live with them. So there has to be some line of communication there. In your college courses, 9 times out of 10, you're going to form group messages and chats with them because, someone's always going to know, well, what was the homework? I didn't quite hear it, or, sharing information back and forth with each other. The third would be just going to events, not necessarily joining, but there's a whole bunch of free events that they normally have. It could be anything. Sometimes they would have jam sessions in the cafeteria. The DJs would be in there playing songs. You could be eating. Some people get up and start dancing. There's several academic events as well as just events for you to go to for fun. They have on campus, and just go. 9 times out of 10, I end up talking to someone else sitting next to me, didn't know them at all. They're like, hey, how are you? Or, anything like that. And it was really weird for me because you wouldn't expect people to do that. But at college, most of the time, everybody's kind of thinking like you. Some people do come with people they know or family members that they know or old friends, but a lot of them don't. And so they're kind of thinking the same thing as you is, I really want to go and meet someone. I want someone to go places with me. I don't really want to go myself, and, just be friendly, don't be so reserved. I had to learn to do that because I'll be like off to myself, and sometimes it seemed like you were self-centered or you might have been a little mean, but it's just like you're just reserving yourself. You don't know how to put yourself out there to people, but just showing up, you're going to eventually start getting to know people just because you show up to events. You might show up to 2 events and the same person see you. They're like, oh, hey, like, where you at so-and-so last week? I'm like, yeah, I went today. Oh, you was there too? That's just forming conversation and just forming friendships or, or having associates, which is fine too, but that's how I started off, just going to things. And, I started seeing the same people and I was like, hey, you, and, and I started doing makeup, in college, and that helped me get a lot of people too. I was doing different people's makeup. I put myself out there. I made myself a page. So that was a big one for me because I am very shy, and, I have people come into my dorm and, to get their makeup done and writing me. So that's kind of how I got my name on campus. That was before I pledged and everything like that. So yeah. Make yourself available. Eventually, you'll come out the shell and you'll get tired of being in the dorm by yourself while everybody's on Snapchat and Instagram, at this, function, at this event. So,
Yeah, small talk can go a long way. I tell them that all the time. Just small talking. You're not going to build a friendship from day one, but it could be the beginning of building a friendship. Of course, we got to cover Greek life. Too many of my students don't know anything about Greek life. They're mixing up what a fraternity is or what a sorority is. And so I know, and you know, how beneficial, how great and fun of an experience can be. But a lot of my students they don't even know how to get started, how to show interest. Can you give like your top maybe 2 or 3 tips? Well, first of all, can you just talk about just the benefits and your experience of being Greek, being in a sorority, and then Two, just give some tips on if somebody is even thinking about becoming Greek, how should they go about it? What things should they pay attention to? What are the do's and don'ts?
Definitely. So the benefits, the number one being network. You are network. That's really the reason why you go to college. People think it's to like, yeah, you learn, you get that expensive piece of paper, but if you have no resources from that, it's almost like it was worthless in a sense. You have to network and put yourself out there. So that was the number one thing. That's where that's where my head was. You know, I'm gonna meet a lot of people. I was Googling how many people was in this sorority, you know. I was Googling like locally, you know, who's around in the area, you know, just doing your research, but definitely for that reason. And, you know, I can attest to the fact that it does help. Even after graduating, you know, I've been in contact with a lot of my sorors who have helped me out. Like, hey, oh, you're in this area, you moved to this area, I might have something for you, or I might have a connection for you. This is real life. So, I mean, without it, I would probably be lost out here, you know. So definitely for that, for the bond, for the sisterhood, you know, that's another thing. Normally, well, at my college, you were able to, you know, pledge a sorority as a sophomore. So, you know, after your freshman year, normally you have 30 credit hours at the university, then you're able to go ahead and try out to be a part of a sorority. But wow, I mean, that sisterhood that you get, I mean, people would think that, oh my God, it's just random girls coming together and they're just wearing these colors or they're just doing these calls. But when you join, I mean, that love and admiration you have for these other women, or if you're in a fraternity for these other men, they literally become sisters. They literally become brothers. And if you don't have that, you know, if you don't have siblings, and a lot of people do have a lot of sisters that don't have any siblings at all, you know, you get that experience. And it's almost like there's no different. You know, a lot of my sorors now, they're like a part of my family. When they come over, they're like, oh, hey, baby, like, you know, and it's like nothing. It's like they were born into this family. But as far as if you're interested, number one is do your research. That's the biggest thing. Do your research, do your research, do your research. This is a lifelong commitment and bond, and you want to stay true. You don't want to join something and then later on be like, man, I don't think, you never want to have doubt, you know. I believe in all the sisterhoods of the different sororities and, you know, the brotherhoods of the different fraternities, but it's something about knowing what you want to do and going after just that. And once you attain it, it's amazing. It's no feeling like it, you know, and I'm proud of my sorority. I love it so much. I've met so many different people through it. And I did my research. I knew what I wanted to do and I stayed true to it. If you're on campus and you're a freshman and you're interested, I would say just go to events. They all, if that chapter is active on your campus, they're going to have the events. It's mandatory that they have events. That's all you do is show up to the events. You don't have to scream to the top of the world. You don't have to go around looking for people. All you have to do is show up because they're always looking. We know that, you know, whenever a line comes through, there are going to be people that are going to inquire about it. It just is what it is. You have to keep the sisterhood growing, you know, and if we see that you've gone to events, that makes you more likely, you know, like, okay, I see this person has gone to, you know, 4 out of 5 of our events, you know, I've seen them around campus. They seem pretty cool, you know, everything's pretty cool. That increases your chances of being able to join that specific organization. So definitely just doing your research on your own time and staying to yourself. Don't kind of vocalize it as much. It's very, very much so about discretion. I know a lot of people don't know about that, and that's the biggest thing. You know, they think like, oh, I just want to come up to you like, hey, I want to do what you do, or I want to wear those colors that you're wearing. You know, that's not the right way to go. And some people can be a little more cruel. I am not cruel, so I just kind of pull them to the side and be like, you know, hey, no, this is not really the right way to go, but all you have to do is really do this and that. So I will let them know. Sometimes I have sisters that are not as nice and they will just, you know, kind of come at you, which they have the right to because, you know, people earn these letters and they're proud of the letters they're wearing and they have to go through, you know, the whole process of seeking as well. So, you know, just do your research, have discretion, and just be patient. do what you're supposed to do, go to these events, make sure your GPA is as high as it can be to increase your chances. Make sure that if you're not already, you're doing community service, or trying to get involved in different, organizations that are not Greek, that are free. Okay, 9 times out of 10, all you have to do is sign up. And it looks good when you're in different stuff, especially like honor, you know, societies and things like that. But yeah, it's really not as hard as people make it seem. You just have to know the steps and just apply them and try to remain calm, because I know it's really nerve-wracking when the time comes and you're ready to jump on it. You just have to kind of fall back, know your place, and just have faith in your abilities. Like, you have to sell yourself basically to them. Like, this is who I am. I have this GPA. I'm in this, organization. I've done this community service. I've been to this amount of your events, kind of thing, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, I think people underestimate that discretion, especially, but also like just taking time to do all the research that is available to you. So not just Googling, but like you say, go to events, get to know members, see if what you think and what you read is actually what you see on campus, see how good you vibe with the members and the organization. I think it's a very nuanced process, and it's kind of easy for us because we're on the other side of it to be able to say
Right.
just do this and this, but it can be very intimidating for people that are aspiring membership to decide exactly how to go about it. But I think you laid out a good plan for a good starter kit for people to start with. If you had to sum up your Grambling experience in one word, what would it be and why?
Perseverance. It took a lot of perseverance to get that degree. I was in school for 6 years. It took me 6 years to get my degree. It took a lot of hard work. It took me taking a year off. It took a lot. I went through a lot during my, attendance at Grambling State University, and it took perseverance. If I really wanted that degree, I had to go get it. I couldn't let anyone tell me no. I couldn't let anyone stop me. There were several things that fell in my way that stopped me time and time again, but I would come back. I had humility. I didn't let anybody come in between that path that I had set. That was the goal, and I was going to keep walking, running, crawling if I had to, towards that goal, and I didn't let it stop me. So I recently just graduated in May. I'm so proud, and it's okay to not finish in 4 years. Things happen. This is not a race. Some people finish in 3, some people finish less than that, some people, finish in their 4. Others, it takes a little more time, but life happens. It doesn't come with instruction on this is how exactly it's going to go. It doesn't happen like that. And for me, it didn't happen like that. So, I fought for my degree, and eventually I won that fight. It took a little while, but, I had sisters looking up to me, and I had family members that were dependent on me getting this degree and setting the tone for the next generation. So you have to have perseverance. Other than, studying and doing your thing, you have to be able to persevere, because you get that degree. Your teachers, your professors, the faculty, they don't get it for you. They might love for you to. They might push you even a little bit, but you have to be the person every day to wake up and say, this is what I'm here for. I'm not going to stop until I get it.
I'm with you, and I have you beat. It took me 7 years to graduate. I also had to take some time off of school, so I know exactly where you're coming from. What did you have to tap into? Because, a year off, it might not sound like a lot, but that's a long time. I'm sure during that time, you, of course, had a lot going on. Maybe you didn't know exactly when you would go back in, but tell me a little bit, what did you have to tap into to stay focused and to persevere? Because I think that is a skill. Also, it comes naturally to some people, but I have a lot of students that they encounter struggle. They hit wall after wall after wall and just decide to give up. So what did you have to tap into that allowed you to keep pushing?
I had my mother at the time. She wasn't accepting no as an answer. I took the time off, and she said, okay, but you're going back. you're going back. And I'm not going to lie and act like it was easy for me that after 2 semesters of being off, you get into a group of working, and that's the worst mistake. That's why they tell you, if you're in school, go ahead and try to finish that, because once you get in the workforce in any kind of way, once you see dollar signs and your bank account has numbers going into it every 2 weeks, every month, every week, you're going to get used to that. At what point do you stop working and making money to go back to being a college student, where you have to ask your parents for money, or you have to find some kind of way, or sometimes struggle a little bit? At what point do you stop that? So for me, it was, my mom said, all right, time's up. Enough is enough. You got to go back. You have a mission to complete, and you have to get the degree. And she kind of pushed me and said, hey, look, I'm here to help you. I might not have as much, but whatever I have, I'm going to make sure it's available to you so you can get this, because I know it's meant for you to have it. So that was me. My mother was my motivation. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let her down. I'm going to get this. She said, go get it. So I'm going to get it. That's the least I can do for her. She's done everything for me. The least I can do is fight to get this degree so that I can make our lives better in the long run. So, for me, that's why I took a year off. My mother, she had cancer. She found out she had cancer. So, I took a year off. I went and worked and, 2 jobs to make sure I was helping her pay her bills, make sure I was helping her take care of my little sisters. So, that was a battle. But after a year, she said, okay, time's up. I'm good. I'm doing better. You still have a mission to complete. You have to go back to school. And we drove from Missouri all the way back to Grambling, Louisiana in our little car, packed all the way up to the tip top with the dog and 2 sisters. So, and she said, you know what, here we are. She dropped me off. She said, I love you. I know you're going to do great things. And, that kind of got me back into the groove. And I speak so passionately about perseverance because just a year after that, my mother passed away. And, after that, it was just like, with that being my motivation of my mom, I don't want her to have to work as hard anymore. I want to buy her a house, a car. We always want to do things like that for our parents. Once she's gone, it's like, well, who am I doing it for? But she's gone. Why am I even doing this? And, you can face depression. It's a lot of things that can happen. I was confused. I didn't know where to go, what turn to take, and I just had a support system that was really great. My boyfriend at the time, his family, my grandmother, and the rest of my family was like, look, your mother had a plan. She wanted you to do this and you have to finish. So I had a village to band together and that held me up. And they're the reasons why I graduated, on May 10th. They're the reason why I walk across the street proud, no matter how long it's been. You get talked about, once everybody in your class starts graduating and then you're left with people behind you. You don't know anybody. This is not your class. People start talking, things happen. This is college. And, you have to stay encouraged. You still have to persevere. It doesn't matter when anybody's talking about, I'm going to get that degree. And guess what? When you walk across the stage, it don't have a starting end date. It just has what you earned on it. Nobody would have to know. So, that was it for me. I faced a lot of things and a lot of people and a lot of naysayers. But guess what? This is for me. And I'm not going to stop because I have people behind me that's dependent on me. That's dependent on this story that I'm telling. They're going to face things maybe far worse than me or things similar to what I face, but you cannot stop no matter what. You cannot stop. No, it's never an option. And, I persevered and I fought, and I was just as proud walking across that stage last spring as I was if I would have graduated on time. Probably even prouder because I fought through all those little bitty details that most people didn't have to deal with, and I still overcame. So. Definitely.
Wow. Your why was so powerful. I think it's still something that I'm trying to figure out how to get students to figure out on their own. Like you have to, your why has to be strong enough. If it's strong enough, it doesn't matter what you encounter in life, but specifically in college, if it's strong enough, you're going to keep pushing. And you're right. They do not put how long it took on that degree. That's something I tell my students all the time. As long as you finish.
Yes.
As long as you finish.
Yes.
I want to end with this last question. In a few weeks, I'm going to have over 60 students starting college that are really nervous. They don't know how they're going to do. They don't know what to expect. what would be your advice to all the, well, not just my students, but all students starting college, not really knowing what to expect, just extremely nervous, and they just need like a vote of confidence? What, I guess, what would be some words that you would give to them to kind of help them push through that first year of school?
Accept those emotions and those feelings. It's okay to feel nervous. It's okay to be scared. You're going to be, and that's perfectly fine. After that, after you gather yourself together and be like, okay, I'm here. I can't turn back around. I got to do it. Just get acquainted. Start off getting acquainted with your professors and the faculty members. Start off there, because that's going to be the main focus. Your focus should be on getting the best possible grade that you can and focusing on school. Everything else is going to fall into place. So set yourself up for success going into college. Write your story in a way where you don't have a choice but to be successful. You know, once you get involved with your professors, they'll start getting you, into different programs that your department may have that help keep you prepared. Once you join an organization, you have to maintain a certain GPA, things like that. Go for things that's going to, make you be great without kind of making you do the work yourself. You'll have these organizations or these classes or these professors that expect something out of you. Be like, okay, I seen you got this on that test, but I know you can do better. What's going on? And that's what I had. Professor talk to me like, you kind of fell out. What happened? And they'll talk with you like, all right, sometimes they'll give you another chance. Like, I know that wasn't your best work, here's a makeup test or whatever. So, just start off strong, and I guarantee you will finish strong. If you start off not so strong, it is a possibility you can still finish strong, but you got to fight that much harder to get back on top. So, just preparing a path for you, staying in contact with all of them, staying in contact with your admission team. Like, I was an ambassador. Doing that, you learn so much about your university. You get to go on trips. You do recruitment exercises and things like that. You meet so many people that's coming in, and that kind of helps bring down the nerves when you see other people, other children or other kids that's coming into school, and you're like, I was there before, I know what it feels like. I can kind of help them through the process. That's what helped me as well. So, definitely.
Cool. Thank you. You got me ready to go get my doctorate. I'm ready. I really appreciate your words, taking time out to do this interview. Of course, I'm going to post it on YouTube, post it to IGTV. And if it's okay with you, kind of later on this year, just kind of want to do like a quick check-in with you, kind of see where you are, maybe talk about what the challenges after graduation are, so you could kind of continue to give some words of inspiration to recent college graduates.
Definitely. Of course.
Cool. Well, thank you again. You have a good evening, and thank you everybody for tuning in tonight.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
All right. See ya.